Well, good afternoon, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana weather. It is the last day of May. Can you believe it already? May 31st, 2014, and it is just shy of 1 here in the afternoon Eastern Time. Today's video update is sponsored by Metal Magic in Washington. You can give Chad a call at 698-8555 for all of your paintless dent repair needs. They have that traveling hail team as well. And folks, we have some severe weather potentially to talk about in the forecast for this week, so you may want to write that number down. You may end up needing them. All right. Tell them Southern Indiana weather sent you. All right, satellite and radar into motion here. It's an absolutely gorgeous day outside. Mostly sunny skies right now. Really, the rain is confined mostly off to the south. There is a slight chance, and I mean maybe a 10% chance of something over a very small portion of southern Indiana today, but I think most will stay dry. In fact, not if maybe even everybody may stay dry with this. Let me go ahead and stop this and zoom in here on where we are at right now here in the area. You can see as the satellite starts to come up here, just some very high thin clouds for most of us. You can see there's kind of that boundary right down here. If I throw on temperature data as well, most of us are already near the 80-degree mark or above the 80-degree mark here. But if I throw on, let me throw this real quick. Let me put on the dew point temperatures here. You can see a very clear difference in the dew point. In fact, you can kind of see where that boundary is. There's that front just kind of stalled out down here. And behind that, 70 degrees your dew point here in Henderson, 65 your dew point in Evansville. That's a pretty steep difference over just only 4 or 5 miles. 63 your dew point here in Huntingburg, and look at this, back in Louisville, a 51 degree dew point. By the way, a 51 degree dew point, that's pretty dry air, and that is not muggy at all. That's very comfortable humidity. Starting to get a little bit into the muggy meter when you get 63, and then it's just downright humid and sweaty and nasty once you get into the 70s for your dew point. So a very stark contrast in your muggy-o-meter here across the area, and that's due to that boundary that's stalled out. So I would say there would certainly be a chance of some more pop-up thunderstorms this afternoon, but it should probably mainly stay here the way things look over southern Illinois and western Kentucky. Maybe closer towards the Evansville area, possibly an isolated pop-up, but for most of us here in southern Indiana, we won't see a thing as far as that goes temperature-wise. Otherwise, it's going to rise into the mid-80s today, to upper 80s even in some places, and it's going to be a very nice day. Plan your day forecast sort of looks like this. I'm forecasting 87 for our high temperature today, mostly sunny skies, and then the plan your night forecast for tonight, not too bad either. We drop down into the mid-60s under partly cloudy to mostly clear skies tonight. So beautiful day on the way. Now we've got big changes in the forecast after this. Enjoy today while we've got it, because well, this is going to be the last really decent day that we see in a while. We've got rain chances in the forecast, really as far as the eye can see on the extended outlook. Let me take you through the surface maps, go through some data, and show you why that's the case. We've got the front here as far as it's going. Really, it's starting to dissipate out. The Weather Prediction Center has not drawn the surface front, but I actually would disagree. The front continues more along like this up here as well as down here. There's still definitely a boundary here, whether you want to call it a front or not, but that's going to continue to push its way to the south. Now watch this next system up here start to develop. We got some rain chances coming in tomorrow afternoon again, and this is going to be more from an upper level system than it is anything. But then by the time the week wears on, you can see here we are into Sunday night, and here we are into Monday morning, and you're starting to see a very clear cold front defined and move down our direction. Let me switch to the next tab and take you into the extended period. Here's what your Monday would look like. By Monday morning, you've got a pretty powerful cold front starting to move down into here. And then by Tuesday morning, that cold front has started to lift back up more towards the north in response to this low pressure. Part of it's becoming a warm front, part of it's staying a cold front. And then by Wednesday afternoon, that's inched even closer under our area. And actually, I think this was Wednesday, I should say. Yes, this is early on Wednesday morning. So what we see here, day 5 then, this is actually on Thursday morning. And then, of course, you have got, after that, Friday and yes, Saturday. And then you see that front just kind of hangs around there. So what that will lead to basically is daily rain chances. Now, what about the potential for severe weather? Let me talk about that and take you through here. First off, let me go ahead and time it out on future radar, what limited amounts we can see. We can only see 60 hours out on future radar. Here's Saturday. It stays dry around our area. You see some isolated pop-up thunderstorms here late tonight right over western Kentucky, southern Illinois, where I said they would start to pop up. Here you go into Sunday. Sunday morning looks pretty dry, but it's going to be a different story by the time you get into the afternoon. Here's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, here's 3 o'clock. The storms are starting to fire. By late on Sunday evening, you certainly got more of those pop-ups. Here's 11 o'clock at night. All right, and then watch this on Monday as you go throughout the day. Scattered storms. Really, Monday morning looks decent right now from the way this appears, but then it starts to increase in coverage as the day wears on. And by the time here's 5 o'clock on Monday afternoon, notice you got it looks like a decent little line setting up to our west. That line moves through here potentially 8 o'clock at night. It does not look like it will be a severe, major organized severe threat, but it could bring some heavy rain with it. Let me go ahead and time it out with our severe weather threats for you to give you an idea. As I said, severe weather is there the potential for it this week. Here's what it looks like for tomorrow. No severe weather to worry about tomorrow. So anything that pops up, not out to our west, there's a pretty significant severe weather threat. By the time the Monday comes around, though, day 3, Monday, there is a 5% chance for severe weather that extends really just to our west, and this is a very minimal risk for severe weather. But again, late on Monday, we've got that line that could be moving in. Is it possible that the 5% risk could be extended over into us? We'll just have to see at this point. I think any severe weather that we would get on Monday night looks very limited at best. All right, but some heavy rain and very 40-mile-per-hour gusty winds, certainly not out of the question. Some small pea-size hail. I could see that with this line, but remember severe criteria. You've got to get 57, 58 miles an hour before it becomes a severe thunderstorm or 1-inch hail or larger. So, are we going to see that in an isolated fashion? Maybe, but not widespread on Monday. And I would not be surprised to see 0 warnings issued with this. All right. Now, it could be a different story as you progress further in the week. We look at day 4 and day 5's outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. Day 4 becoming Tuesday, there's a 30% risk for severe weather. Remember, in the days 4 to 8 severe weather outlooks, the Storm Prediction Center only issues upper end slight risk, which are 30% slight risks. The low end slight risks are the 15% risks, which the 15% risks you can see right here. That's shaded in yellow. This is what Sunday looks like. 30% gets shaded in the red. All right, you don't even see a slight risk even on Monday. On Monday for that, you don't even see a slight risk for Monday. It's even below a slight risk. It's marginal. That's going to be changing by the time you get into Tuesday and Wednesday. Now remember, this is the upper end slight, so there's always a low end slight that surrounds this. I think that what you're going to see here is probably, maybe switch it to yellow, because that's what the low end slight risk would be. I think you're going to see this low end slight risk on Wednesday issued more in this fashion, where it probably will literally encompass all of our area. That's my thinking at this point, and I think there's some justification for that. If I take you through and kind of time it out on the radar, and not on our future radar, but this is accumulated precipitation in our surface map. Let me just advance here, and what you see here's the state of Indiana right here. And as we advance this over in time, you see plenty of precipitation chances this week. Here's by Tuesday afternoon, there's a powerful low pressure up to our north. The front is starting to move in, but what it's going to do is it's also connected to this low pressure as it moves up. So that front's going to start to stall out over our area like I showed you in the surface maps earlier. And so by the time we get into Wednesday, here we go by Wednesday afternoon, there's a low pressure out to our west. And if I would define it based on the models, let me put this in blue. Here is your front right here extending back up in this direction according to where the models are putting it, with another front sort of like this. All right. So, and actually this would be more of a warm front in this sector of it, at least, because as the low starts to push this way, the front will be lifting up this way as well. Okay, so that's certainly going to put us in there for the severe weather chances. Remember, for severe weather, you need certain ingredients to be able to even get severe weather with things. If I go ahead and take you in to look at some of those severe weather ingredients, let me pull this up here and go to. If you wanted to do this, by the way, you could just go to twisterdata.com. It's a free site, and I use it for part of my stuff here. Pretty easy to be able to do, and let me find what hour I'm in here. I am at hour 102. Let me go to hour 102 here as well. This model run isn't fully processing. It's a free site, so it's a little slower processing than some of the others. But it's still a nice site. I like the way it displays things for severe weather at least. Let me go up to winds here. At the 500 millibar level, that's winds at 18,000 feet. All right, remember what we're looking through here are strong winds, because remember you need three things for severe weather ingredients. You need strong winds, and you need a lifting mechanism, and you need instability. So let's look at those real quick. Here you got the strong winds. The best winds, as you can see, remain up here in the more in central and northern Indiana. That's where the upper end slight risk, but we've still got the winds down here, even extending here into southern Indiana. If you can't see it very well because of the map, here is the state of Indiana. That's a terribly drawn state of Indiana, but at least you can see where we're at here. And what you can see is, yes, as you see here, certainly the winds are enough that we could say severe weather is possible. Now, winds aren't the only thing we look for with severe weather here, but let me go ahead and also look at this. We've looked at winds up there. Hold on, let me look down here. We're exploring this together because I haven't even looked at the 12Z model run, so this is new to me. This is a new model run. We're looking here at the low-level jet, and not a whole lot of low-level jet activity, so that would be a detriment to severe weather. You don't have to have a low-level jet to have severe weather over us, but it's certainly one of those things that would certainly enhance it, so that's a detriment to it, but we'll see. But we're also looking at 18Z by the time, let me put this into motion one more so that we can get to 0Z, which would be about 7 o'clock that night. And oh, there you go. The low-level jet is starting to ramp up over us, probably about the time that we would get into the heart of the activity. So yeah, there would certainly be a low-level jet here. That would certainly increase the potential for some severe weather if that were the case. Let me look at our bulk shear product. Remember, if you've heard me talk about this before, I want 35 to 40 units of bulk shear or better to get organized severe weather. Here we are in the state of Indiana, right where my mouse is. Here is the border of southern Indiana, and yes, you get about 40 knots plus even into 50 and 60 knots of bulk shear up here. Certainly more than enough for organized severe weather. So based on this model, absolutely the wind energy is strong enough. Let's take a look at instability. We're going to look at a product called CAPE, convective available potential energy. It's just and absolutely, here's Indiana. Here's the border of southern Indiana right in here. And folks, that's 3,000 plus units here in southwest Indiana, 3,000 plus joules per kilogram of CAPE. That is absolutely more than enough to fire severe storms. All right. If we looked at our lifted index, I bet you would see the lifted index being pretty strong negative buoyancy as well. Absolutely, it is kind of a bullseye right here in southwest Indiana of negative buoyancy. So that means there's plenty of instability. Now we know that we've got the front stalled out into our area. That's more than enough to fire those storms. So based on this, I would say yes, absolutely, the possibility for severe weather is real. Now, is it the best parameters I've seen? No, absolutely. Back, remember when we had the November 17th tornado outbreak over Indiana? Down here in southern Indiana, we got spared quite a bit, but Washington, Indiana did have a small tornado touchdown also as well in Knox County around the Decker area, moved into Washington, even moved into Lawrence County. And but the majority of the tornadoes stayed more towards our north. We had extremely impressive dynamics that day. In fact, the bulk shear values were more like 70 to 100 knots. This is only 40 to 45 knots of bulk shear, so it's a lower, it's not as impressive as what you saw on something like November 17th, but it's certainly enough for some organized severe weather, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a few warnings out of this. Something that we'll keep an eye on and monitor over the coming days, and we'll just have to see how it pans out. But at this point, yes, severe weather is certainly on the table, so mark down Wednesday and we'll keep watching it for you. Temperature-wise, by the way, I'll show you this real quick. Temperature-wise have moderated down just a little bit over the Beyond the Weather video that I did yesterday. And, it was showing quite a bit in 90s. Now the highest it's showing is in the models is about 86. I still think it's going to get a little warmer than that potentially, but that's the reason it's doing this is because we have greater rain chances now than we did in previous models. The rain chances look to be increasing for the week, so that if we do get more rain, holds the temperatures down. We'll see. I've removed the 90s from my forecaster now. They may end up needing to be put back. We'll just have to see how that goes and play it by ear. But regardless, whether you're looking at 85 or whether you're looking at 90, that's still pretty warm whenever you got dew points up pretty high. It's going to be muggy. And precipitation-wise, just to show you this as well, this is accumulated precipitation over the next 7 days, what's predicted from the Weather Prediction Center of the National Weather Service, and close to 3 inches, 2 to 3 inches area-wide here is sort of what is being said by us, so we have plenty of rain on the way. All right, go to southernindianaweather.com. We'll take a look at your 7-day forecast. Again, upper 80s is what it's going to look like for today and tomorrow. Rain chances come back into the forecast tomorrow, and I've moderated the temperatures down into really the mid to upper 80s for the rest of the period, but we have some pretty decent rain chances coming on through the week. So batten down the hatches, folks. We've got the rain on the way. Wednesday looks like the day that we're going to be watching for the potential of severe weather. We'll just have to see how that goes. It is certainly not a guarantee, but it is something that I will continue to monitor for you guys, folks. We've already had several tornado warnings issued here, 33 from the Paducah office over since January, and who knows, we may have more coming. All right, that is it for this edition. We'll see you next time.